Today, I have my mom, celebrity chef Sally Ling. She's going to cook my favorite childhood food. Let's cook dumplings!
The dough that will make the dough very al dente. And then you gradually just pour in the water. When you make the dough softer, then you pour in the water faster. If you want it's very al dente, you pour the water slowly.
Mom, can you tell me about why you would use hot water versus cold water?
Yes, that also depends on what are you making. If you're making just boiled dumplings, you use cold water. But if you are making some pan-seared dumplings, so you use warm water. So I would say 50-50. The half boiling water and half cold water, it will make it the pan-seared dumplings dough. So then we just let it's getting smoother. We just let it sit for about 30 minutes.
You start mincing these vegetables, you can already smell what's happening in the kitchen, which is one of my favorite childhood memories, is smelling the aroma of what's about to happen, which is dumpling making. So this is a dry shiitake mushroom. You'll find dry shiitake mushrooms in most Asian households or Chinese restaurant pantries. They are dried and you hydrate them in hot water to bring them to life. They add phenomenal flavor and texture to a lot of dishes.
Like small pieces like this. You know what I do with it? This is my press.
Smash it.
Smash the ginger.
That is a very, very classic secret.
And cut it into very fine pieces. You don't really want to taste the ginger, but you do have the ginger flavor. Okay. Always like to have a little bit sugar, soy sauce.
My mom never measures, but we do have the measurements in the cookbook that she wrote.
Yes.
Because we made her measure, finally, her recipes. But she always does what every great chef does, eyeballing the situation. So we have sugar, soy sauce, oyster sauce, salt, white pepper, and sesame oil.
Sesame oil. I always put salt last for the reason of I kind of have to measure, see how much stuffing we have, and then I add the salt.
I would say that every cabbage is different, whether it's fresh or older in your refrigerator, because cabbage is one of those things that you can keep for almost weeks. And so if it's super fresh cabbage and you cut into it, you'll see water come out of the stems. And when you start chopping it, water will start coming out. And if you have excess water, it's really important to squeeze it dry because you don't want your stuffing to be too wet. And so my mom took a cabbage that's probably been in my fridge for like 2 or 3 weeks, and she started chopping it, and it looked dry to her, so she didn't squeeze it this time.
I don't think
it smells so good.
So I put a little bit flour on the board. This is one of the cutting board that we use. And this was the dough we just made. Try to roll it like a snake.
So when you make it, it almost bounces back a little bit, huh? That means it's going to be al dente?
Yes. After you're sitting the dough for about half an hour, it will become smooth and al dente. You cut this into pieces.
So once you have the rope, you're going to end up cutting it into these pieces, and then you always put the cut side down because it's quite sticky. You put the cut side down on the floured surface, and then you'll see my mom will press it with her palm of her hand.
Have it tossed with the flour to make it evened.
This is the challenging part, but not challenging for her. So you're gonna start rolling it into 3-inch round pieces. You use your dominant hand to roll the pin and your other hand to hold the skin. And as you roll, starting from the edge of the skin closest to you and rolling out, you don't want to go across, you go to the center of the skin.
And the center part should be a little bit thicker than the edge.
The reason why the center should be thicker is that when the two edges come together, when you seal it, it should be the same thickness as the center. I'm so much slower.
You need a lot of practice. You're just holding the edge of the dough, and putting bigger stuffing. You just seal with the very edge of the dough.
They're so delicate.
Well, I like to make a smaller piece because it tastes better. See, you use the edge of the dough.
I think the beauty of the good dumplings is thinner skin, but not too thin. You still need that noodle texture. That's the Beijing style.
Yeah.
And then a richer, bigger stuffing. The ratio is very important.
Yes. In. It's better to have a Teflon pan because it's non-sticky.
My mom actually prefers Teflon for dumplings, so it's non-stick. This is the most traditional way to make pan-seared dumplings. You put a little bit of oil in the pan, and you snuggle the dumplings up close to each other. This kind of pan searing gives you a very kind of crunchy exterior, and you'll see that. You're going to add water and then cover it. You add water until it comes up about halfway and then cover it on like a medium to high heat. Once the water is almost evaporated, you're going to want to take the cover off, and you'll see there's still some water in there, and that means all the water has been absorbed in the dumpling. And if you touch it lightly, if it feels stiff like a meatball, then it should be done. And then you turn the heat higher so that the water evaporates faster, and then you get that crispy golden sear. My personal favorite is boiled dumplings, and it's as easy as cooking pasta. So you boil the water, and then you carefully put the dumplings in the water. You don't want to kind of throw them in there because they'll plop and splatter at you. But my mom gently puts them in the slotted spoon, and then she stirs. And then because the dumplings are cooler than boiling water, it makes the water not boil anymore, and then you wait for it to come to a boil again.
You can freeze the dumplings, you know, when you're making a lot, and then just anytime you're ready, you can use the frozen dumplings, which is convenient when you don't have time to cook.
So whenever we make dumplings, we make a lot at once.
Extra.
And we'll eat some fresh ones, and then we'll freeze the other half so that you can have them at any time you want.
That's why frozen dumplings are very convenient.
Hence,
Handy.
Dumpling Daughter frozen dumplings. After about 6 minutes, they should be floating. And once they're floating, they should be done. And you can always take one out first and try it if you want to be sure.
Some minced ginger. Some scallion.
Some black vinegar, Chinese black vinegar.
Yes. Sesame oil on top, and yes. But your dumpling sauce, it will.
You can always put spicy sweet soy.
Yeah, that's another dipping sauce.
I'm gonna try the steamed ones first. With spicy sweet soy from Dumpling Daughter.
I will try one from the ginger scallion and Chinese vinegar.
So good.
My favorite food.
Mine too. And that's how you make dumplings.